So Sri is a serial entrepreneur with over 22 years of experience in the field of customer experience, technology, and management. He's worked in the corporate world with the likes of Nokia, Tata's, and Samsung before becoming an entrepreneur in 2009 by founding his first venture, the Service Solutions, which was acquired by a German company in 2014. Currently, he runs Servify, which works with most top electronics brands globally, providing device lifecycle management services such as Apple Care Service, Samsung Care Plus, OnePlus Care, to name a few engagements. And they're already becoming the largest platform for device care services in the country. Sri also works with multiple startups in India, either as an advisor or as an angel investor, and works with many such industry forums. Over to you, Sri.
Thank you so much, Priya. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I know it's a Saturday afternoon, and probably the timing is such that it's almost sleepy time. So I'll make it as interesting as possible. So let me share my screen. And good afternoon, everybody. I don't know how many of you are on the call, but can you all see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. Okay. You must be thinking, typically you would have heard 1 + 1 is 11, 1 + 1 is 2, 1 + 1 can be anything else, right? But it is 13 in my opinion. The reason, while 13 as a number looks in many, beliefs that it's not a good sign, but in our belief is in business, 13 is a very good number. I live on the 13th floor in my home, and I think that's always helped me the moment I moved to my new home. So the 13 reason is, it's actually beyond even 11, beyond obviously number 2. 1 + 1 from mathematics standpoint is 2, but 1 + 1 can be 11. But I think the power of ecosystem makes it even 13. So which is just a representation of saying that it is probably the biggest advantage if you work with the ecosystem, if you run a business that is ecosystem driven. So let's just take a couple of examples. Imagine, I'm sure you would have all experienced this. When you order something on Amazon, you get to know everything. The experience is seamless. You're very, very confident what you order, you get. And also the transparency is extremely superior. And you know exactly what's happening. That's because they keep consumer at the center. But just imagine, instead of that, if this was what you would have seen. If Amazon would have said, hey, we have facilitated a sale because we are responsible for selling only, but we don't care when it's going to be delivered because we don't control the logistics guy. Or think of a scenario where you make a payment, but they don't give you a confirmation. So just think of many such cases. What if this was the real use case? So I think similarly, think of it if you are an Apple user, I'm sure many of you are, all that you have is within the device or within the Apple ecosystem, all that you have is one unified ID, whether it is for your music, whether it is for data, with storage, gaming, or Apple TV content, for all of them. What if they were completely disconnected and they were not really powering it as a single unified ecosystem? And that's exactly what I'm going to talk about today. And just to go further on these two iconic brands, and that's the reason Amazon is an Amazon and Apple is an Apple. And I think what it brings is it creates so much of stickiness, and I'll give a few more use cases. What is Amazon? Amazon is, at the end of the day, just a platform, right? But if you see the way they've created is, they are the orchestrator of the whole ecosystem. Today, when you order on Amazon, whether it is an iPhone to a grocery to a toy, you don't really care which brand or whether the manufacturer of that product is responsible for delivering that product to you or great experience to you or not. You are confident that Amazon will make it happen. And that's the reason why Amazon is where Amazon is. And that's because they've got the entire ecosystem together on a unified platform where they are the orchestrator. It's almost like playing a music, music show where the symphony is actually run by one person. You may have a great singer, a great drummer, a great piano, guitarist, but what matters is somebody who puts all that together. And that's exactly what Amazon does as an orchestrator, and similarly what Apple does. Just to give you an example, if you see how Amazon has got the entire ecosystem together, whether it is manufacturers, logistics providers, marketplace sellers, cloud infrastructure, financial services, farmers, warranty services, trade-in vendors, you name it. I think the way they have expanded, and that's the reason when Amazon ventures into a business, you never really think, when Amazon enters into payment services, you don't think, hey, this is something beyond Amazon's core goal is. No, because that's an ecosystem that they are trying to create where all other services come and get plugged into that ecosystem. And that's the reason, like I mentioned, Amazon is where Amazon is. Similarly, if you see Apple, from the time Apple came, I worked with Nokia, and Nokia was number one. They had in India about 70% market share. Globally, they had over 40% market share. But unfortunately, Nokia couldn't build what Apple built their phone, because the moment they a smartphone, they said this is a personal device, and therefore we have to get the entire ecosystem together for it to be useful to the consumers, and therefore it can create a scalable business. And that's how the app developer ecosystem came in play. They got music into the same device. So today, imagine tomorrow there may be a scenario where you don't have to really buy an Apple product. You may even end up buying just an Apple ID, because any Apple device, it could be a computer, it could be a laptop, it could be a iPad, it could be a phone. All that you need is one single device to really experience that ecosystem play. And that's exactly what Apple has done. And there are many more use cases. So overall, if you see, what it brings is, when you build a business which is structurally different, you get structural advantages. And that's exactly what Apple has done and Amazon has done. What they have done is they've taken an ecosystem approach. And at the same time, what that brings, so ecosystem approach is from a business model standpoint, and from a strength, from a execution standpoint, they have taken the collective strength of the entire ecosystem. That's exactly what has given them highly scalable business model. At the same time, brings such a large operating leverage. Just to give you again one more example, you may think of, again, Amazon as an example, right? Think of whichever brand that you want to purchase a product from. It is Amazon that controls that behavior and not the brand. And that's exactly how an ecosystem-led businesses work. So basically, when you build a business with competitive advantage, as far as I'm concerned, that is time bound, because somebody else can do it better than you. It is always, you will always have somebody who will try and copy, or they can throw more money at it and build probably better business, better services, because it's just having a competitive advantage. And that competitive advantage could be price, could be anything. But when you build a structurally different business, which is ecosystem driven, you get structural advantage, and that lasts forever. And that's the reason, while Amazon is where Amazon is, they've been building this for over 25 years now. Same way Apple almost died, but they are today where they are. And that's the reason they are the most valued companies in the world today. And that's the power of ecosystem. So I think, if you want to know how do you create one, I think there are some critical areas for creating an ecosystem. One is, first is, in an ecosystem, it's like a marriage. You have to respect each other. You have to make sure that there is a win-win combination. Everybody has to win. If there is one person winning and the other person losing, just again, taking example of, let's say, an Amazon or an Apple. Amazon, if a logistics provider doesn't make money by partnering with Amazon, even Amazon will get impacted, because the logistics provider will default in customer experience or in delivery. So I think in such a model, it's always creating some operating aspect. And if you are an innovator, you have to make them part of that innovation cycle. They have to be part of that innovative ecosystem play. If you want to create an ecosystem driven business, you can again define, do I have to be the orchestrator? It is very difficult to create an ecosystem driven business. So you can be an orchestrator, or you can be a complementer. You are just being a party to the whole ecosystem play. I think that's the second. So if you want to be participating in this large game of ecosystem driven businesses, think of the role that you want to play. And again, in terms of the terms of participation, it is because somebody is going to control the whole ecosystem. As one individual provider or a player, it is very difficult to get your say in the whole place. But at the same time, it is the openness that brings that collaborative play, collaboration, and collective success. So you need to make sure that you are open to such an ecosystem, such a structure, where there could be some trade-offs that you have to accept, because you are being part of a larger ecosystem rather than you doing it yourself. It's always therefore 1 + 2 is equal to 13. Now, last couple of points. One is how flexible your organization is to kind of adapt to such changes, because an ecosystem driven business doesn't give you short-term results. It gives you long-term results. So you need to invest time. You need to also be part of that evolution, because there are a lot of customer trends and consumer trends that keep changing, but the ecosystem really adapts to it because it's a larger, it's an elephant. So you cannot quickly expect changes to happen, but whenever that changes happen, it actually impacts the whole ecosystem in a very positive manner, and therefore it's a long-term value. Last but not the least, you have to ensure that there is a technology play in this, because if you have an integrated ecosystem which is controlled with a common or a unified technology, the results are absolutely great, because you can bring down a lot of operational inefficiencies and also have transparency, because data provides you clear visibility of what's happening. So therefore, if you are going to be part of an ecosystem, or if you want to build an ecosystem driven business, ensure that you invest also in the right technology tools, or integrate with someone, or if you are being a complementer of an ecosystem, ensure that your orchestrator has the right tools and systems to give you complete visibility, so that you can constantly keep evolving and get beneficial as part of that larger play. So now I'll give you a couple of examples of what we at Servify are doing. One of the things is, as a business model, we said when we launched, this is a very tough business that we launched. It's operationally intense, almost like the reverse of Amazon, where post-purchase, when a customer has a problem, you can call up a call center, you can walk into a service center, but then the experience, unfortunately, has been, many a times post-warranty is completely unreliable, because the brands also considered that our responsibility is only the 1 year of manufacturer's warranty. Unfortunately, when you don't have an ecosystem play, what happens is, when you give, let's say, you have handed over your handset for repairs, but the guy says parts nahi hai, there are no parts. But who gives you access, or who gives you visibility of the parts? Nobody knows. The service center says, I don't know, because the parts supplier has not told me. And imagine now the parts guy also has visibility and he's shipping it. But the logistics guy, that system or that entire process is disconnected. So you don't even know when the parts is going to come. So ultimately what it results is in a poor experience, or multiple calls to know the status of your own product, which ultimately results in a bad experience, and also excess cost or operational cost that goes up for the brands that manage such a process. So we said, can we build an integrated ecosystem on the back of a technology stack? Therefore, it is not people driven, or it is not people controlled, but certain rule engines, certain processes that control for predictability. And at the end of the day, what it results in higher revenue, customer experience, customer retention, improved brand equity for the brands, and for consumers, they get a modern digital experience and also predictable experience. And that's what we built as a company. And just to give you an example of how we did this, in our entire business, we have the OEMs who are our principals. We have telecom operators who are enabling the devices for use, especially smartphones. Then you have the distribution network where the products are sold. And then you have the service fulfillment network where services are done, whether it is a repair provider, whether it is a part supplier, whether it is a payment provider, whether it is a contact center, any of these fulfillment providers. So we said, can we bring them all under one unified platform, hence deliver an integrated ecosystem play in which everybody wins? And that's exactly what we've done. And I'm very, very happy to say that because this is a structurally different business, it helps us scale. And as we speak, we are operating in about 11 countries. And in terms of the presence, we have over 43,000 retail sales points and touch points that are connected to our platform, distributing warranty services for the brands in a branded manner. And similarly, when it comes to claims, service, etc., there are over 16,000 service touch points that the customer can take advantage of. And this is across the world. And this is what is the power of platform. And therefore, 1 + 2 is 13 for me. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take. But I think I've taken lesser time than probably I thought I would take. But if you have any questions, happy to answer.
Let's look at this. There are a couple of them on the Q&A, Sri. We can go through that.
Sure.
It says many companies try to disrupt, but only a few succeed. Is it that difficult to predict future trends and create lasting business models?
Majority of, I would say mostly yes, not necessarily always, because when you build an ecosystem-driven business, what happens is you need a lot of investments too. And it's not easy to build an ecosystem because you're going to influence a lot others. Imagine when Apple first launched their products, it's not easy for them to convince every single app developer, every single music or content provider to come and be part of that ecosystem. Same way Amazon, right? Because at the end of the day, when it comes to consumers, it is the Amazons or the Apple that want to define the consumer experience. So I think it's a long-term play. Imagine even when it comes when we talk about Amazon in India, they're still not making money. They're losing money because you need to also change consumer behavior. But they have taken the lead because they're the orchestrator. So when you're buying a product which you get it delivered in 4 hours and probably the cheapest, while it's the same quality product, who's taking that cost? Because it is Amazon. It is not the seller who's actually selling at a loss, but it's a cost of acquisition. It is a cost of changing consumer behavior. And therefore you need to have the right, you need to have that muscle. It could be financial muscle, it could be process muscle, it could be innovation, it could be the technology. I think Amazon has tried to kind of create all of that, and that's where, where they are, right? But I think if you want to really build an ecosystem business, it takes time. Obviously, it takes time, and you need patience, and you need resources, both financial resources and good people, I think.
Okay, there are a few more.
Yeah.
How to identify changing future trends and tweak ecosystems and platforms midway?
Excellent question. I think this is the problem if you don't build an agile ecosystem. So when I say agile, your foundations have to be extremely strong, but I think you need to constantly evolve because, and the beauty is, since you're working with the ecosystem, you have access to that changing trend quicker than anybody else in the market, because somebody will give that input. So it's an evolving process, not necessarily, you build one ecosystem, you build a platform that stays forever. So it's not that you are just building a building and you don't change. It's not a building. So in my opinion, you need to be constantly open for change. And of course, you are going to be the category creator in that space, right? So I think when you're building an ecosystem, it could be a smaller business model also. I'm not saying it has to be as large as Amazon or as large as, let's say, an Apple. I mean, at the end of the day, when you are working in an ecosystem-driven model, your change is slow, no doubt, because you need to make the entire structure move in that direction. But you have to build as a culture, that flexible culture and agile culture for change management. And COVID, for example, right? None of us knew that something like COVID would happen. And I can give you an example of our own business. We were, let's say, doing X dollars of business, and March happened and our business went zero. We can't change anything, right? Only thing we can do is work with the ecosystem to make sure that everybody wins. And I can tell you, offline retail, which was one of our, ecosystem partners, but the contribution of the offline retail from as far as our business was concerned on the top line was minimal, because they would still say that hum to itna bande hai, we can still sell because we have 5,000 people in my retail chain and everybody can sell. I don't need a platform to really sell to the consumers. When March to May, when the lockdown started easing up and when the market started opening up, the only option to sell consumers was through a digital platform. And suddenly the adoption on our platform skyrocketed and our revenues jumped to 4 times. But that was possible because people were flexible for the change. They could have always said that, hey, this is a small company. Imagine, I'm not going to name, there is a retail company that has 2,400 retail stores in the country, the largest one. You will know the name, obviously. They're also the largest conglomerate in India. Or another retail chain based out of South who has 550 stores. They never integrated our platform to the point of sale system because they said that I have a guy who can sell. I don't need to integrate and reach direct to consumer because my consumers walk into my store. But within 30 days, such a large company could adopt change because that was the need of the hour. So in my belief, if you are open for change, obviously any change can happen. And COVID was the best example. So therefore, I'm a strong believer that ecosystem play always helps. Yeah.
We'll have time for one more. I can quickly bring up one more. Are there any competitors in this space, is what Vishak is asking.
Oh, excellent question. So this is the question I get from investors too. And I say no, because I believe I'm an ecosystem provider. And I can tell you very honestly also, we don't do any direct to consumer business. We do ours is a completely enterprise business. So I power an Apple Care service in India. I power a Samsung Care Plus in multiple markets. I power a OnePlus Care globally. So I am an enabler. However, if there are any other people who are doing similar to us, there are bits and pieces, but not at a platform level. And from a business model, I think we differ. At the same time, like for example, if I have to give an example of, let's say, an Apple Care services, now there could be a retailer who is selling some similar service in his own name, and that also we power as a platform. So we don't really compete, because for us, we are, if you understand the business parlance from a revenue to COGS math, we are a COGS to many enterprises. Therefore, I can be a COGS to anyone. So which means I can be a supplier to anyone. But yes, I think globally, this business model has not seen the light the way it should. And I think it's only recently that people are saying this is a space where you can really make money also. Otherwise, after sales service, I can tell you my own example. When I started my career, and I, after an engineering coming from South, obviously I had to be a software developer, and I was not. I joined a company to be a service engineer. And in my own family, people used to say, oh, you're a service engineer, you must be useless, right? So it's the same, unfortunately, until a couple of years ago. Investors would say, how will you ever make money? Because it's such an operational intense, not so sexy business model. Therefore, luckily, we don't have competition to the extent that I can really talk about. So sorry for a long answer, but I think that's a real answer.
No, thank you so much for that. We have a few more questions. So we'll be posting these onto the Slack channel. So it'll be nice if you can stay online on the channel and answer a few of them offline.
I'll do that. So
much. So yeah, I think we are done. Thank you, Shri, for such great insights on how ecosystems are helping business and why businesses need to keep that in mind.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, and have a good weekend, everybody. Nice meeting you all.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Great. I'm just putting up the feedback form once again. Please do let us know your feedback for this session. Cool. So with this, we kind of come to an end of the first part of Converge 2020 Bangalore. Before we wrap up, are you all waiting for the quiz winners? Cool. I'm gonna paste the winners over here. 1 second. So the winners for the quiz one are sorry, 1 sec. Are Naveen and Ashish Agnihotri. Congratulations, folks. And the quiz 2, we have Manjeet and we have Advitya.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, and you will be receiving your gift voucher soon in your email IDs. Cool. So yeah, we've had an amazing set of speakers for this edition of Converge 2020. And we thank each and every one of the speakers who actually took out the time to come and share with us the insights that they provided us. And a special thank you to all the attendees who have attended this and stuck with us until now. So thank you so much for your time as well. And so this is now the end of Converge 2020. Like I said, this is the first part that's ending. So we still have a very exciting workshop that's coming up your way, which is on how to design a sustainable digital ecosystem. So in this workshop, you'll be working with a case study, hands-on with a case study to actually design a platform to promote tech-powered beach tourism. It's a separate Zoom link that you'll have to join. And I think it's people have already registered for it, so you would have already received the Zoom link today. And for those of you who haven't received it, don't worry, we will have these workshops run very often, and we'll let you know once when it's open and you can join us there. Cool. I think it starts in the next 20-25 minutes at 2:15 p.m. So see you all there. And for the rest of you, thank you for joining us.
One last thing, Punya, I've also put the link for the feedback for the overall webinar, where we would want to hear your thoughts about overall how the event went. If there's anything we can work on to improve, anything that you really liked about the event, please let us know. So this is a different form. I have put the link on chat here. And the last thing also we want to mention to you is that in case you are interested in joining Thoughtworks, I am also putting the email address of a person who you can get in touch with. And he will help you in terms of if there are any openings in Thoughtworks and what is the procedure to join us and become a thought worker yourself.
Thank you, folks. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Bye.